She led a nation out of fear. She commanded an army into battle. She spoke, and an entire enemy fell. And she did it all in a time when women were never expected to lead. Not a warrior, not a queen. Her name was Deborah. And long before the battle was won, she was already walking in authority. For 20 years, Israel suffered, crushed under the rule of a powerful king and a ruthless commander named Sisera. 900 iron chariots, unstoppable, unmatched. Every attempt to rise failed. Every effort to fight back was crushed. Fear spread across the land, villages emptied, roads abandoned, and no one stepped forward. Until Deborah. She wasn't crowned, she wasn't chosen by people, she was chosen by God. Deborah was a prophetess, a judge over Israel. Every day she sat beneath a palm tree, and people came from everywhere to seek her wisdom. Because when Deborah spoke, she didn't speak her own words. She spoke what God said. And in a time where fear ruled the land, her voice carried authority. Then one day, everything changed. Deborah received a message, not for the crowd, not for the nation, but for one man. His name was Barak. She sent for him immediately, and when he arrived, she didn't hesitate. God has commanded you, she said. Go, take 10,000 men and lead them to Mount Tabor. This wasn't advice, it was instruction. But Barak hesitated, because he knew Sisera's power, he knew the chariots, he knew the fear that had held Israel captive for years. And so he said,
"If you go with me, I'll go, but if you don't go, I won't."
Deborah didn't shrink back. She answered with confidence.
"I will go with you."
Not because she needed to prove anything, but because she already knew the outcome. And that was enough. So they went, Deborah and Barak leading an army of 10,000 men, standing on the mountain, looking down at an enemy that had terrified them for decades. From a human perspective, nothing had changed. The enemy was still stronger. The chariots were still there. But Deborah saw something different. She didn't see fear. She saw victory. And then she spoke. Go. This is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Not tomorrow, not eventually, today. Those words moved everything. Barak stepped forward. The army followed. They charged down the mountain, and then the impossible happened. The sky opened, rain poured down, the ground turned to mud, and the very thing that made Sisera powerful, his iron chariots, became useless, stuck, heavy, trapped. Panic spread through his army, and in that moment, Israel advanced. The battle that should have destroyed them became their victory. Sisera fled, his army collapsed, and just as Deborah had spoken, the enemy was defeated. Even Sisera himself would not escape. His end came through unexpected hands, fulfilling the word Deborah had already declared. Because when God speaks, the outcome is already decided. The victory wasn't about numbers, it wasn't about strength, it was about obedience. And at the center of it all was Deborah, a woman who didn't fight with weapons, but with faith. A woman who didn't follow fear, but followed the voice of God. When others stayed silent, she spoke. When others hesitated, she stood firm. And because she did, a nation was set free. Deborah didn't just lead people, She reminded them who their God was. And sometimes that's the kind of leader history needs most. God doesn't call the obvious, He calls the willing. And Deborah was willing.